we won't have to cry no more. And we won't have to cry no more.
My name is Jenny Pickens, and I lived in the Montford area around the late 70s, I would say. We started out Cleveland Avenue, then we moved to Cumberland Avenue, and then later Westover Drive. So, and I was there till I was about finished high school, actually. So till I was a senior in high school. The neighborhood at the time when I lived here was very, it was predominantly black, but there were a few white, a lot of white as well, but kind of I'll say more black than white. A lot of them lived in the bigger houses. I don't know, our house kind of seemed like the meeting place where everybody would hang out because my sister used to braid hair. So everybody would come and hang out over at our house. I had a couple of cousins who lived in the neighborhood. So it was kind of like a circle. So one family lived on Blake, one lived on Bearden. And I lived with my grandmother because she's the one that raised us. So that was the house everybody went to on Sundays to eat and everything. Garden was on this side here, like in the back, over that way. And it was huge. We get out there and pull beans, potatoes, tomatoes, of course. My grandma would can stuff. And this actually used to be an upstairs apartment. So you can see right here where there used to be a door.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You can still see it where there's a door there. Mm-hmm. My grandma had this chicken she had forever. But my granddad getting the eggs from her. But he would be out here in the yard pushing those handheld lawnmowers. As a kid, we would call ourselves going on. We call adventure walks, and that way we go through the neighborhood. There was a lot of apple trees, grapevines, pear trees, walnut trees, and that's what we ate during the time we were outside. There was a community store which was on the corner of Flint Street, and which is now a house. Someone's house now, but that was the convenience store everybody walked to. There was also another store we went to on top of Montford. That was that place. I think I remember going in there with my grandmother buying meat that you could like sliced meat or fresh meat and everything in there. I remember that a lot. And behind that was Cherry Street. And there were a lot of houses, like stacked, I guess you could call them stacked houses, where someone lives at the bottom and another family at the top. There was a lot of that. Walking to school, like walking to Randolph, we would sing songs on our way to school. I remember that. Just so much. The street washers coming to wash the street. At the time, we'd take our shoes off and kind of play around in the water and everything. Things like that. Just, the lady with the Coca-Cola bottle on her head, we'd see her coming through the neighborhood. I remember my sisters being older and I was the youngest, so I would like to sneak behind them and see what they were doing. And the hangout was on the Montford wall where Randolph School is, what was called William Randolph at the time, which is the school all of us went to. And we would sit there on the wall. There was this big tractor tire that sat by the basketball court. And that's where everybody would hang out and play basketball. And then we would sit up on top of the wall. And I just remember just hanging out up there with them. We were supposed to go to the store. Grandma sent us to the store. We spent our whole time sitting there on that wall. Then by the time we get home, 2 hours later, we were sitting there plotting what we would say when we get home. Like, we'll tell her that we saw such and such. And this, so played it out loud. I remember that. Oh, I forgot about Mr. Amos Miller, who had the cab stand. And he lived, which is now Hello Darling. There used to be the gas station, the cab stand and the cab stand. And he lived in the house right beside it. And I remember going in there, every time I would leave school, I would walk home and I would stop in this store. And if I had $1 or 50 cents, I would get 100 Tootsie Rolls or 50 Tootsie Rolls. I love Tootsie Rolls. Still do this day. And I would sit there and watch him sit there. He'd sit there and count them every day. Count them to me. And those are like things I remember. Yeah. Like I said, we didn't have a lot, but we didn't know it. So we made good of what we had. We always had something to eat. Always had roof over our head. It was always warm. So, like I said, we grew our own vegetables. It was just, I love the fact that you knew everybody in your neighborhood. Everybody was like getting along. Everybody stuck together. Like I said, if you needed something, there was somebody that could to give it for you. The stores, I remember the stores, you could go into a grocery store that were like the one at top of Montford or the one at Starnes. If you didn't, you would run a tab, like the parents like, okay, I need to get some eggs or something. I don't get paid till next week. And you were able to get these things and run a little tab or how it was, and then you pay it off, when you got your money. So there was a lot of people that looked out for people like that, which they don't as much anymore. People are more thinking about themselves and as a whole and not. So I think we're better if we all work together. Community that you had, like all the black communities, because that was a time when if we were outside playing, the lady across the street, she's got our eye on us, and we know to behave. You don't have that anymore. That was taken away, and I noticed a lot of older people, the older once their children finished high school or on the way to college or whatever, they would move away because there wasn't anything for them here, and I think a lot of that happened. The older people who had to live in the homes could no longer afford living there by themselves, and so they have no option but to sell. So, and that's what I hate. Just like I remember, like a lot of older couples being there, but had to leave because they couldn't maintain their homes anymore once the kids were gone. I think, and to me, I believe a lot of it was done at putting us all in this one little area like housing, and then you no longer think your value, you don't have value anymore. And I think if you're able to stay in your homes, or even when people will come and invest in their homes, I think there will be more people there because, like I said, people were sitting down at dinner tables eating dinner together. It was church on Sundays. It was going to school and all those things together, playing in the outside till the street lights came on, and then all of that was just erased once the other people come in and start taking their homes, and like that safety net, you know. I think that's a better way to like bring community back together. So like let's just say the neighborhoods where you've got sidewalks, you're walking down and everybody's greeting each other in the mornings and the evenings, and everybody knows who the neighbors are. And if your neighbor is without something or needs something, people are reaching out to help them, especially the elderly, if they're living by themselves. It says snowstorm comes, someone's going over there checking on the neighbors to make sure everybody has what they need. And nobody goes without because you have community. I would love to see that again. Whether it's black or white, it doesn't matter. Just more about community.